Hello again. I'm sorry I haven't made a video in a long time. It has been crazy here. We finished reading the parts that we needed to from the Sleep Lady book, and we've been trying to apply them. I think I mentioned in my last video, until we had everything figured out, we moved her back into our bed because that was the most consistent place that she'd been sleeping thus far. So she was sleeping in our bed, but we were still following our bedtime routine and the nap routines. We were following the nap schedules the best that we could. We started waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning, every morning, and then I would try to lay her down for a nap at 9. Didn't really work that often. Sometimes she went right to sleep. Sometimes she never really cried in the crib when I put her in there or made a fuss. She just wouldn't go to sleep. Or she would go to sleep right away and only sleep for like 20 or 30 minutes. So that's been a bit of a struggle trying to get the naps down, but we still always tried to stick to it the best we could. So laying her down at 9, and then I'd try again at 1, and then especially if she didn't nap for very long or at all during the day, I would try again at 4. I've also been trying to get on I never really nursed on a strict schedule before, or on any schedule really. I would just kind of nurse on demand. But this whole program kind of includes also like scheduled meal times as well as nap times, and it kind of works. I mean, it works out. It kind of blends with what we were already doing. She already was feeding about every 3 hours or so, sometimes 4, and that's pretty much the same even with the new schedule that we're putting in. So she takes a nap, wakes up, eats, and then she takes a nap, wakes up, eats, and then we're also incorporating solids. So that's something else we've been doing. And then so we not practiced, but put the nap time, meal time schedule into practice during the day for the past week. But then she was sleeping with us in the bed at night. And Friday, I was planning on making a video before and then a video yesterday to like cover the before and after of Friday, which was our starting day, like our first day of doing the actual in the crib Sleep Lady method. But it was just, I've been exhausted and it was just kind of busy and crazy, and I honestly just didn't have the time. I actually made one video and my computer, like, I don't know, did something with it, disappeared. I downloaded it and I started editing it, and like the first part of editing, it just disappeared. So the video was terrible anyways. I was exhausted. I had huge bags under my eyes. I was all over the place, which I usually am in my videos anyways, but it was a mess. So it's probably better I'm doing it now where I can be a little bit more organized and clear. I do apologize. I know I'm usually all over the place in my videos. Like right now, I think I already started the schedules and now I'm like, whatever. Anyways, now it is Sunday. Friday was the first night of the Sleep Lady's method of moving the chair from the crib to the middle of the room, to the door, and out of the room eventually. It did not go as well as I hoped. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. I'm really struggling because she still cries when we put her in the crib. I mean, we do the whole bedtime routine the same, everything is the same, and then we lay her down in the crib to go to sleep, and I don't even, the method includes me sitting right there next to her, and I can even touch her and talk to her and soothe her. I'm not supposed to do it too much, but you can do it. But she just cries so hard that she's like can't breathe, she's gasping for air and snotty, and it's just too much for me. I mean, they said that it's normal, especially on the first night, for there to be some tears, but I expected the kind of like whiny crying things that she does at nap time sometimes, which it does happen, but I leave her in there. I don't go in there and rush to her, and she like whimpers and kind of like whines a little bit, and then she goes to sleep and it's fine. And so I kind of thought that's what it was gonna be, but it was not. It was full-blown crying, as if we'd left the room and done the cry out method. It was as if we'd done the cried out method again. So I didn't like that. But, you know, this has been a big kind of debate between me and my husband. You know, of course, we're not always going to see eye to eye on everything when it comes to parenting. And I realize that, and that's fine. You know, we just have to do the best we can to find a happy medium, someplace in the middle where we can, you know, meet up. And this is one of those things. He likes sleeping, co-sleeping. He did enjoy it. He liked having her in the bed, but he was not getting good sleep. There wasn't enough room in our bed. We have a smaller, it's not small, but it's a queen size bed, and for 3, it's kind of small. So he just wasn't comfortable, and he wasn't getting good sleep, and he wanted to be able to have that intimate time for me and him. I mean, not just for like the hanky-panky, but like to be able to like lay in bed together and it be just us, because we don't have alone time otherwise. You know, he's at work, we have the baby. There's just a lot going on. And I agree, and I can completely understand. But on the other hand, I still really enjoy co-sleeping, and it feels like so far it's been the best fit for us. It's the way she sleeps the easiest. I mean, while I might be physically uncomfortable, like inside, I feel great and it feels right. So it's been kind of, you know, a debate between us. He was more for trying the cry it out, as much as he hated hearing her crying. You know, he was looking at it as it's supposedly only 3 days and they're done, and then they're like good to go and they can sleep on their own, and the crying only lasts for like the first couple days. So he was thinking, you know, get it over with. It's only a couple of days in the big grand scheme of things, and then she'll be able to sleep on her own and not have to depend on us, and we have our bed back and everybody's happy, which I get. And like the logical part of me, I agree. But, you know, the maternal instincts, the mother in me disagrees completely. I can't sit there and let her cry. I can't sit there and just hear her crying out for me and fight all of my natural instincts to pick her up. I cannot do it. So, you know, we had to compromise, and this was kind of our compromise. Like, we are taking a much gentler approach. We can be right there with her. She knows that we're there, so it doesn't feel so much like abandonment. And I think it is a good method, and the book was great. It really does have a lot of great information, and we've been really applying, you know, everything that we could from it to our lives. But once we started doing it, and I'm sitting there in the chair next to her, and I mean, it sounds crazy maybe, but even sitting there and being able to touch her, it just felt like I was fighting my natural instincts not to pick her up, because she was crying and I wanted to pick her up and make her feel better and maybe even help her to sleep. It just felt like the natural thing to do. And I was fighting that. I had to fight that in order to follow this program. But I don't think it's fair for either me or my husband to be the deciding factor on how we're going to do this. So if this is the middle ground, then we both have to do it. He would rather just get it over with quick, so it's, you know, like a Band-Aid, like painful for a second and then it's gone, instead of like dragging it out. Which I, you know, part of me really agrees with, but I just can't get past how agonizing it sounds having her crying herself to sleep. Like, that's a horrible way to go to sleep, and it just kills me. So, you know, this is a meeting ground. It's not my favorite, it's not his favorite. We'd rather be doing different things, but this is where we kind of met in the middle. And so, as hard as it is, and it really is killing me, and I can't help but be very vocal with him about how much I object to this, because it just, everything in me feels wrong when she's laying there right next to me crying and I'm not picking her up. It feels wrong, and it bothers me, and I disagree with it, but it's not, you know, we're both her parents. It's not up to me to say this is how we're doing it, and I don't care what your way is because this is what we're doing it. Like, I might have my maternal instincts, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't have his own. And I think that's for a reason, so that we can find this middle ground and do what's best for her. So I do think this is important to follow through with it. And it's just been rough. The first night she cried for about half an hour, and then she finally fell asleep. And then she slept pretty well. She slept through the night, except she woke up twice to nurse, which is fine. We're not worrying about the nighttime nursing right now. We'll wean off of that later if need be, but honestly, I don't see a problem with that either. It's if she's hungry, I'm gonna feed her. So the first night was not bad. She went back to sleep after nursing. I tried to, make sure she was kind of awake when I'd put her back in the crib so that I wasn't nursing her to sleep. I don't know if I did the best job, but I really did try. But she did go to sleep pretty easily both times that I nursed her that first night. And then we woke her up. She slept, I think, until about 6:30, and then she started waking up, but I didn't go in there. And we waited. She wasn't crying or anything. She was just kind of awake. And we waited until 7 to go in there so that she would know this is the time that's wake up time. And then we go in there, we turn on the lights and everything. So it's very sudden. So she it sticks in her head. She knows this is wake up time. And it's not inconsistent and going in there in the dark and messing with her, But that went well, according to my husband. Horrible according to me because I hated the crying. And then last night was night 2. And night 2 supposedly is going to be easier. Night 2 is supposed to be the easier night. It's supposed to progressively get easier, and she's supposed to cry a little less, if at all, and fall asleep sooner, and that did not happen. It was, in my opinion, and I think my husband agrees, worse than the first night. She cried a lot harder, and it took her closer to 45 minutes to an hour to fall asleep. So, and the falling asleep to me is the biggest part of what's wrong with it. It's my biggest objection, because I hate that she's crying herself to sleep. I don't think she's putting herself to sleep. I think she's crying so hard that her body just is so tired it gives up and she falls asleep. I mean, I've done it as an adult. It's, it's not completely foreign to me. You have a bad day or a bad night or a fight or something, and you cry yourself to sleep, and you really do fall into a hard sleep, but it doesn't mean that it's a good one. And I don't think it's good that she cries herself to sleep. But again, we have to give it a chance, and supposedly the crying tapers off, but so far it's looking a little shaky because she got worse the second night. She did end up falling asleep though, and she slept pretty well. She woke up, I don't think I said it before, but I've said it in my past videos. We put her down. We start getting ready for bedtime at 6, and she's usually laid down in bed by around 6:20 or 6:30. Depending on if it's a bath night or not. And she woke up at 10 something, I believe, last night. And so I woke up and fed her. She went back down, and then she didn't wake up again until 5 this morning, I think. And then she kind of went back to sleep, and then by 6 she was full blown awake again. And I tried to kind of do the same thing where we're gonna wait until she, until the 7 o'clock to get up. And she was just so awake, and we were awake, and it just seemed silly that we were sitting there watching the clock, waiting to go get her out of the crib. So we went in at 6:30 and got her and woke her up, and well, didn't wake her up, but we went in there, and that was that. And tonight is the 3rd night, so we're still gonna be sitting next to the crib, or I'm the one who sits next to the crib, and I'm gonna try not to touch her, or at least not too much, because then tomorrow night we're gonna be in the middle of the room, so I'm not even gonna be able to touch her. So I want her to be able to, even though she's probably gonna cry again, which I hate, she needs to be able to fall asleep without me touching her, because the next night it's not even gonna be an option because I'm gonna be in the middle of the room. So, I mean, if she does cry hard enough, obviously I'm gonna pick her up. Obviously I'm gonna go soothe her. But, unless she's crying hysterically, then, we're supposed to let her try to calm herself down and soothe herself. And it's been difficult, but we're gonna try and stick to it. So tonight should be interesting. I think it has good potential to work, but I never doubted that any of these things would work. I'm sure the cry it out method works. It just didn't work for us, you know, and especially for me. I didn't feel right about it, and I don't feel great about this either, but you know, it's not fair for me to call, you know, head parent and say we're doing this, because we're both her parents and we both have our own instincts, and so this is what we have to do. And I really hope that it does help her. I really hope this helps in the long run. I hope that tonight goes better. It really just kills me with the crying. It breaks my heart. I hate hearing her cry, and it makes me sad when she cries herself to sleep. But, you know, I want what's best for her, and if my husband really thinks that this is going to be the best thing for her, especially in the long run, then I have to take that into account. So we are not fighting about it. We might not see, you know, completely eye to eye, but this isn't an argument, and it's not one of us giving in to the other. Even if we want the different things and we disagree with what's happening, we do agree that this is the middle ground and that this is the best thing for us to do right now, at least. So that's where we're at. I didn't want to make this too long, especially since I tend to go all over the place and it gets confusing. But that is the best update that I have for right now, and I don't want to keep making promises because I was so busy the last few days I didn't make any videos, but I really will try to keep up and make another video tomorrow to follow up on this one, since, you know, we're starting the program now, so we actually have feedback to give on how it goes each night, and especially after tomorrow night, because tomorrow night will be the first night that we move to the middle of the room. So that's where we are. I hope that things are going better for anybody else who's going through the same thing, and I really do hope that things go better for us tonight, and especially for my daughter. I'll do my best to do an update video tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.